We have an amazing adult cast. You know, a guy like Craig Sheffer, who was in A River Runs Through It, to play Keith is unbelievable.
I would say if there is such a thing as your average middle American kind of guy with a good heart, I think that's what Keith is. I think that's what attracted me to playing the character, because I come from Midwestern sort of part of the country, and he's like a regular guy, but he's got a lot of depth, and he's a good leader and a good role model. So I really like that about him.
Did I trap you? Did I lead you on and trick you into loving Lucas?
No, and you didn't trick me into loving you either.
Moira Kelly, when an actor calls you and they elevate the material consistently, it's just, you know, give me an idea that's better than mine. Make my job easier.
You know, she was on The West Wing. To get somebody like that on the show was great.
Karen Rowe is a single mom of a 17-year-old boy. She runs a cafe in One Tree Hill. She grew up in One Tree Hill, was a cheerleader in the high school, fell in love, got pregnant, lost the guy left, married someone else. He has a son, comes back to town, and now here I am, the mother of a son whose, I guess, stepbrother is in school with him, and tangled web. I found out I was pregnant after the pilot, and then I was very concerned because I, was waiting to hear whether the pilot was going to get picked up, and if it did, was I still going to be able to be part of it, because now I'm pregnant, and that takes Karen on a whole other path.
I knew that I didn't want Karen to be pregnant because it just didn't work with the stories we were telling.
But Mark Schwann said that he was, he wasn't going to let me go, that we were going to work it out, and we did.
Our director of photography, Billy Dixon, was hiding her behind everything he could come up with.
We found a lot of things for Karen to stand behind, from plants to laundry to chafing dishes of stuffed mushrooms, you name it. We found it.
When she walks out the door to go to the airport, it's a fantastic moment. You have to look for it. It's shot at a Dutch angle. There's a house plant in front of her. Keith carries the suitcase out in front of her. You never see her stomach. It all worked out.
Paul Johansson, who plays Dan, I've known forever.
The great thing about Paul is he plays probably one of the meanest fathers on television, but he's probably the nicest guy in the world.
Paul Johansson was an unbelievable basketball player in his day, so it's a great part for him.
I was walking down the street in New York City one time, and I was getting out, actually I was just getting out of a taxi, that's what it was, and I turned and I was hit by a purse, which must have been full of nickels or something, because it knocked me on my butt. And I looked up at the lady and she goes, "I know what you're doing to that boy." And I said, "Excuse me, what are you talking about?" She goes, "That son of yours, Lucas. I don't like the way you treat him, and I know what you're doing to him." And I said, "Ma'am, I'm an actor. That's not real."
That article's a lie. You're not my father, and you never were.
You're right. It is a lie. You should never have had the name in the first place. I get a daily rush out of working with Barbara Allen Woods, who plays Deb, my wife, because she brings it.
What else do you want, Dan?
I want you.
I saw 3 pages of the script, and no lie, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. Deb is different in that she is well-rounded. I've normally played moms or vixens or temptresses. She's sort of well-rounded. She does it all. She has a job. She's a mom. She is a sexual being. Hint of what's to come. I'm very lucky that I work with Paul Johansson, who plays Dan. I never stop laughing. He sort of gives me my space. Deb cries a lot. She's very emotional, and I need to be in my zone, and he's very respectful of that. But I'll hear him say something in the corner of the room, and he cracks me up. I mean, his presence cracks me up. The show does appeal to all ages. I mean, it's not just about the kids, it's about the way the kids relate to the parents, and their parents have their own lives, and that's true life.
And we have Barry Corbin, who's been a pro for a long time.
Look, I know you don't care much for me, but you do care a lot about this team.
I care enough about him to protect him from you. Over my dead body, Danny.
Well, if that's the way you want it. Barry Corbin has such weight, I don't just say, I'm not meaning the kind of weight that he's going to hit me for saying. I'm going to mean the kind of weight that he brings into a room.
What in the hell is going on out
Why?
there?
Relax. We're up by 9.
Tim, go in for Nathan.
Sports is a great arena to tell stories about the human condition.
I've played basketball my whole life, and I'm a fan. He's actually is a pretty damn good basketball player, a star of his high school team, and I took him to Mike's my partner's house to play a little half-court one-on-one. I was like, come on now, you got to get this part. And like for the first 10 minutes, I was beating him, which wasn't a good sign. And I said, look, man, your career is on the line right now. You better bring it to me. And then he did, and he made some move that left me in the dust, and he got the part.
We had a few rules going into the show. One of them was, if we're going to show basketball, it has to be telling a bigger story. To be able to use basketball as a way of putting these two boys together, a way of Lucas having to deal with not only his past, but his mother's past, and mostly his future. We started to look at gyms in Wilmington while I was location scouting, and we walked into a gym that was okay. It was nothing special. And they said, oh, by the way, Michael Jordan played his high school basketball here. I said, okay, we're done looking. Well, this will be just fine.
I think Chad will tell you he was relatively inexperienced as a basketball player and came a long way.
So in the second episode of the season, we open on a tugboat coming down the river, and we drift over with the Steadicam to pick up Chad in close-up. And he's got to hit the shot. It's a oneer. We don't cut. And he hit it. He hit it like 3 times in a row. I mean, if he misses it, you have to reset a tugboat in the river.
One of the components that's, I think, really helped One Tree Hill achieve its level of popularity is the music in the show.
When we decided to construct the show, we decided to make music a big part of it.
I think kids really have a score to their lives every day.
I really feel like we have the best music on television.
This last year, we got to break some good artists like Gavin DeGraw, who does the theme song.
And the greatest part about the music on the show is what we have done for Gavin's career. I mean, here's a guy who was done. You know, he had a record that maybe sold 50,000 units and was finished, and the show, you know, made the record big, and he just, you know, went gold. And
but then to get a call later in the year to have Sheryl Crow want to come out there and play, and come to Wilmington on Super Bowl Sunday to play for us and be in the show was, for me, a high compliment. We're noticing by putting the music in the show that television is becoming the new radio right now, and it's the place to find new music. We're able to take more risks than radio is, and even MTV, because, you know, our show is not driven and doesn't depend on the music. The music is the accent and the soul of the show.
You know, we can tell stories so much better with the right piece of music and the right camera movement, some gorgeous lighting and some longing glances than I can do with pages and pages of dialogue. There was a Dashboard Confessional song called The Places You Have Come to Fear the Most. It was very interesting to me. The song essentially says, what happens when your safe place becomes the place you fear the most? And that's what was happening to Lucas in basketball. And so once I used that title for the episode, I thought we should try to use song titles for all the episodes. And if we could find something that was thematically appropriate, all the more better. This show came so far, and while we have an enormous journey ahead of us, we haven't scratched the surface of what we can do creatively, and I genuinely feel like we have a long way to go. The fact that we survived season 1, that we grew the audience, that I loved the episodes, and I think the audience loved the episodes, I really am proud of that.